and I'm looking forward to coming back against the Washington Redskins tonight on Monday Night Football.
Bert Jones, the exceptional quarterback of the Colts, has been sidelined all year long with not one but 2 shoulder separations. When healthy the last 3 years, he led the Colts into the playoffs with bombs like this one to Raymond Chester, the tight end, now a member of the Oakland Raiders. And always he would look for Roger Carr, the fleet wide receiver. Tonight, Bert Jones is in action against a veteran, a great and shrewd and clutch responsive veteran named Billy Kilmer of the Washington Redskins, who rode the bench for the first 8 games but came back last week against San Francisco and starred with touchdown passes like this one to the former West Virginian Danny Bugs. And Kilmer knows how to take advantage of all of his receivers with touchdown passes like this one to John McDaniel. So Kilmer is back, and I spoke with Billy earlier.
Seems to me they always turn to you in time of stress.
Well, I don't think we're in much stress right now, Howard. We've got a 2-game lead going into tonight's game, and, you know, it's a good, comfortable position. And then, you know, I came in against the 49ers, and the 49ers haven't had a good record, and I haven't played much. So this is going to be a real test for me. We got a great football team to beat here, and I'm especially afraid of their defensive line.
20 seconds to air. Stand by, all cameras.
Ready. Stand by in videotape. Ready. Stand by slow-mo.
Stand by to open your mics on the field.
Stand by in graphics. Ready with your opening supers. Stand by the announcers in the booth, please. And roll tape.
3, 2, 1. Take tape.
From Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland, ABC's NFL Monday Night Football. An interconference game, the NFC Eastern Division leading Washington Redskins against the Baltimore Colts. This ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by Buick, who invites you to see your dealer soon and test drive one of the new 79 Buicks. It's a treat you really owe yourself. After all, life is to enjoy. And by Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer.
Hello again, everyone. More than 60,000 people on hand at Baltimore Memorial Stadium. Jam-packed crowd, and as you can hear, a noisy crowd. The Colts coming on the field. We look for a tough, competitive game tonight. And, of course, the game earmarked from the Washington point of view by the return of Billy Kilmer. He succeeded Joe Theismann a week ago and excelled, and he's going to have a chance to prove himself all over tonight against the Colts. Earlier, we had the opportunity to talk with Billy, and of course, the key question was, how are you going to attack this Baltimore team?
Basically, I don't want to make any mistakes. That's the big thing, and I don't want to take any big chances. Now, you know, Joe Walton he's put in a good offense for me and Joe, and we can get some big plays, but basically we got to get Riggins and Mike Thomas running and Benny Malone and our running backs going. We have to have a good running game. So if we can get our running game going, then I think that we can have some success.
Avoid mistakes. Play conservatively, perhaps, and count on running help from the likes of Riggins, Thomas, and Benny Malone. Now, of course, the counterpart quarterback, Bert Jones. What about him? Dandy Don spoke with him.
Ordinarily, when you come to Baltimore to see the Colts play, you expect Bert Jones to start at quarterback. This time we're here, we're a little bit surprised to see that he is. Bert was hurt early in the year, hasn't played much at all. You're scheduled to start, Bert. You had a separated shoulder early in the year. We were told that it was maybe a bruise, but really, you had it separated again, didn't you?
Yeah, against the Jets, I did have it slightly separated, not near as severely as the first time, but, you know, I think I'll be ready to go. I don't think I'll be throwing as effectively as what I have in the past because, you know, it takes a while for an injury to really not necessarily heal, but to get strong, and I'm not quite to that point of being strong. Let's hope I don't get a hit on it, but I think that I can move the ball club.
Well, I've got to ask you then about the International Football League, whatever it is. The guy, what I read was $5 million for 5 years. Is that a true figure? And tell me what happened.
Well, that's pretty much what I read, too. But my off-the-field agent, who doesn't handle any of my football playing or negotiating contracts, was approached by a man who fronts for a group of out-of-the-country businessmen and said, would Bert be interested in playing for $5 million or $1 million a year for 5 years? And my logical answer, well, of course I'd be interested, but by no means has there been any negotiation other than the mention would he be interested in playing. So it's far-fetched for me. I haven't been contacted personally. My lawyer hasn't been, who is my brother, so it's just a blue sky.
And, of course, that graphic speaks volumes. There's Bert Jones. He's only thrown 6 passes this year, completed 5. Now, earlier, you heard, and he does fire up that team. Just look at that picture, and this is a fired-up Baltimore team tonight. You heard Billy Kilmer say he's looking for running help tonight from the likes of John Riggins, Mike Thomas, and Benny Malone. Well, you can be sure Bert Jones is looking for help, too. And here's the Giffer to tell you about that.
Howard, if you could describe anything quite as tense as what we saw an hour and a half ago, Bert Jones warming up, testing that arm. He throws the ball a good 45 or 50 yards. He was warming up with a couple of kids out on this field, and he says, I'm ready, he'll go tonight. And he does have a lot of help. Let's go back to the 3rd game of the NFL Monday night season. We thought Baltimore would just knuckle under after they'd been defeated by Dallas 42-0. They went up to play New England, and they discovered that while they did not have Lydell Mitchell, they had this man, Joe Washington, that they acquired from San Diego here with a touchdown pass to Roger Carr, the heavily favored New England Patriots that night, you might recall. Joe Washington playing his first major role for the Baltimore Colts, this time on the receiving end of a pass. And then when it was all tied up late in the game, New England kicked off. They had taken over dominance of that game. They booted to the 10-yard line, and Joe Washington went 90 yards for a touchdown. Baltimore upsetting the New England Patriots, and if ever a game was won by an individual, that game was, and you don't see many of them. Joe Washington has gone on from there. He is the leading rusher. He's wearing number 20 now. He's over 500 yards rushing, 27 receptions, so Bert Jones is not out there alone tonight. Their defense has started to come together, a defense that was hurt through injuries at the first of the year, a lot of personal problems. They played well against Miami last week in a losing effort, but they feel their defense is back to where it should be. We'll be ready with the kickoff right after this message.
You know, from the beginning, Buick has approached the idea of the automobile with a spirit of innovation, an enthusiasm that led them to promote the valve and head engine, the V6 power plant, turbocharging. The list goes on and will continue to do so. Of course, the goal here isn't to be different, but to be better. Now, if what I've said hasn't convinced you that Buick is dedicated to that philosophy, what you're about to see most certainly should.
Buick introduces a car destined to be a classic. The 1979 Buick Riviera. What most cars will never be, it already is. A car with power windows, power seating, power door locks, power braking, power steering, power antenna, automatic transmission, automatic level control, AM/FM stereo, air conditioning, all standard. Yet for all its elegance, there is another side to Riviera. It is a car with the traction of front-wheel drive, steel-belted radial tires, four-wheel independent suspension, and the power of turbocharging, available on the Riviera and standard on the Riviera S-Type. The new Buick Riviera. At least once in your life, you should own a car this incredible.
The butterflies have to be pumping in this young competitor's stomach. He has played 1 quarter of football against the New York Jets. He has thrown the ball 6 times, completed 5. He re-injured a shoulder that he had hurt in the final preseason, and this is basically his first major role. Jack Pardee, the Washington Redskins' new coach, who replaced George Allen. They have the lead in the NFC's Eastern Division. They can extend that lead over the Dallas Cowboys by 2 full games if they can beat this club tonight, the Baltimore Colts. The Colts, well, quite frankly, they're not going anywhere this year in terms of playoff aspirations, although they still say it's a long season. They feel that highly about their club, does their head coach, Teddy Marchibroda. They are 3-6 on the year, but this is sort of, well, the Beltway rivalry, if you will. Highways linking these two cities, and wildly enthusiastic crowd has turned out, a capacity crowd, as Howard mentioned, of over 60,000 people. Washington has won the toss. Tony Lenhart will kick off. And moving deep for the Washington Redskins will be a young man out of the University of Florida, a 6th-round draft pick with a lot of speed. He has returned one already this year for a touchdown. There he is, Tony Green. That against the Cardinals of 90 yards. He's averaging a little over 30 yards, second in the National Football Conference. Blazing speed, 5'9", 185-pounder. Sit back and enjoy. We think we have a fine football game coming your way. Tony Lenhart set to kick off for Baltimore.
It looks hell of an okay from here.
Billy Kilmer, as you know, will open. Lenhart pounds one, and it takes Green back to the 2-yard line. And a good Colt effort, and Green goes down at the 22-yard line. Randy Buckberg hustling down there. Billy Kilmer, we told you, opens the quarterback, Mike Thomas, John Riggins, who's having a whale of a year. The wide receivers, Danny Buggs, John McDaniel, the tight end. We will see Gene Fugate tonight, I'm sure. He had light surgery about 10 days ago. He wears number 84. There's your offensive line. Now the key thing to look at right here, wearing number 63, is Fred Dean. He has been shaken up already. He had a bad knee coming into tonight. Now if he can't go, because George Stark, the regular offensive right tackle, is out for about 3 to 4 weeks with a knee injury. Now if Dean can't go, we're going to get Jeff Williams, and he has come onto the field already. Jeff Williams, who wears number 73, the unenviable job of blocking against Fred Cook, number 72, the defensive end for the Baltimore Colts. Jeff Williams, of course, came to Washington in a trade that sent Eddie Brown out there at the beginning of the season, along with 2 players and a draft pick. Reported for a couple of weeks and retired. And so he has been called into action. But right now, let's take a look at number 63, top left of your screen. That's Fred Dean. Just a head-on blow, and he is shaken up. He does not appear to be further damaged the knee that was already sore coming into tonight's game. So that's the story as the Washington Redskins, with a 7-2 record, a game-and-a-half lead over the Dallas Cowboys, get set for their first offensive set. And we'll quickly look at the defense while we're waiting. We told you about Fred Cook. That's who Jeff Williams will be going against. The linebackers, the little man in the middle, Ed Simonetti. A good secondary, a patchwork secondary, if you will. They have come from all over. We'll tell you about it further as Billy Kilmer comes up to the line of scrimmage. First and 10, the Redskins at the 22-yard line. Riggins at 44, Mike Thomas 22. Kilmer, very first play, to the air. Throws incomplete, intended for Danny Buggs, who was open, slipped. Billy was right on target, and a flag is down already. And we're going to have a holding call. It's going to go against the Redskins.
I've really got a feeling that something's going to happen here. These Colt fans kind of set the tempo. I think it's going to be a hot night in Baltimore.
It usually is. Our referee tonight, you'll hear from him in a moment with the call, the identification, Red Cashin.
Holding by number 64 on the offense.
Ron Soule, left side of your screen, 64, working against Joe Ehrman. Not an enviable task. He gets those hands all around Ehrman's waist. No question about that call.
Basic football position. I'm a little surprised that Billy's conservative game plan he talked to you about, Howard, opened up with a pass.
First down and 20.
He's been known to put people on.
Haven't we all?
Riggins on the draw play. And Riggins gets about 3 yards out, close to the 15-yard line. Dropped there by the middle of the defensive line for the Baltimore Colts. Cook, the leading tackler, number 72. And Dutton also closed down. Dean comes back into the huddle. Fred Dean, who played for Jack Pardee when he was head coach of the Chicago Bears a year ago. So Dean is in at right tackle. A definite trouble spot for the Washington Redskins.
Just wanted the viewers to take note of that graphic on Riggins. 737 yards, having a big year, the kind of year we Eubank envisioned for him when he picked Riggins as the #1 draft choice over John Brockington.
He's also the Redskins' top receiver. It's second down, 17. And a flag goes. We're going to have a delay of the game. The 30-second clock has run out.
Oh, boy.
Not a good way to start off the night.
Hardly.
It's a great thing, really, for this for the defensive team. But think what impetus it'll give Bert Jones and his offensive crew. You can rest pretty be pretty well assured that you're going to get pretty good field position.
That's the thing about Jones. His mere presence inspires defense as well as offense. He's a leader, and when you've led your team into the playoffs 3 straight years, you've documented your talent.
Second down, 22. The ball back at the 10-yard line. Third wide receiver is in. He's number 83, Ricky Thompson, a former Baltimore Colt. Kilmer out of the pocket, and he runs right into defensive end Fred Cook. We told you that's going to be a problem for the Redskins, and down goes Kilmer back at the 2-yard line.
Fred Cook, of course, is an all-pro ball player, and he had the same kind of situation opening game against Dallas, which we carried on Monday night, going against young Andy Frederick. Now watch him here. And in the early part of that game, he took advantage of Frederick. Well, there, you finally saw Cook.
Third down and a bundle. Third and 28. Handoff. Mike Thomas. Thomas breaks tackles and gets breathing room, at least for the punting unit, as he moves out over the 15 to the 16-yard line.
Mike Thomas has been out for 3 weeks. Therein is a controversy. He claimed he had a slight chip of the right ankle, but there was no swelling. Dr. Stan Levine, the Redskins team doctor, differed with Mike's diagnosis, and Mike, of course, is playing out his option. But he got a load of Benny Malone running last week, and maybe a load of Tony Green, too. He's back tonight.
As Don mentioned a moment ago, it'll be good field position for this man who is standing on his own 45-yard line. Marshall Johnson. Mike Bragg will punt for Washington. And Bragg has hit a beautiful punt that will drive Johnson all the way back to the 35 where he bobbles it. And look at the Redskins. They are one of the finest punt covering units in football they have for many years. A 50-yard punt. Baltimore will have a 1st and 10. Their first possession, their own 40-yard line, when we return in just a moment.
When you farm your own land, the work never ends. But you do it with pride and all the strength you can muster. But now comes Miller time. Time to head for the best tasting beer you can find. America's quality beer, Miller High Life.
When it's time to relax, one beer stands clear. Beer after beer. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. Miller Beer.
Dancing on the mountain to the music of the wind, feeling free and easy in the air.
If you start or continue your college education in the Army, you'll have a chance to bring a lot more than books to class.
So much to learn, so many things to see, reasons and rhymes to find in a soldier's poetry.
Larry Holmes makes his first title defense since his spectacular victory over Ken Norton. The WBC World Heavyweight Championship Friday night on ABC.
Mike Bragg for the Washington Redskins. A very effective punt. Good coverage by the Washington Redskins. Baltimore's 1st and 10 at their own 40-yard line. You'll hear a roar when this man leads his troops out. Bert Jones, number 7. Joe Washington wears number 20 now. Roosevelt Leaks, number 48. Glenn Doughty, 35. Roger Carr, 81. The tight end, number 83, a former Redskin, Mac Alston. The big man, Roosevelt Leaks, and he has pounded at the line of scrimmage. Driven backwards. Tank McClinton, number 53, drives Roosevelt Leaks back, but they'll mark it at the line of scrimmage. There are the people we just spoke of. Speedster on the outside, of course, Roger Carr, great speed. There's your offensive line. They have lost 2 tackles that never even started the season. David Taylor on the left side and the great George Coons on the right out for the season. So Baltimore has had their own problems. On 2nd and 10, Joe Washington gets the call, and Washington can go no place as he gets a yard, and that's it. It'll be 3rd down and 9.
They almost stripped him of the football land as you look at head coach Detmar Shabrota, and again at the Washington Redskins defensive line. Lodge in place of McDowell, Butts, Talbot, Bacon, McDowell out. He hadn't been getting them the pass rush that he had in past years.
Prevent defense as McClinton goes out. And in comes Harris. 3rd down 9. Jones, 1st and 10. fires a strong pass. Goes out to the tight end, Mac Alston. First down, Baltimore.
I think he said he's out, Frank.
Nope, they say out of bounds.
Called him out.
But the impressive thing was Bert Jones put it on a string out there.
He laid it out there.
Fourth down, and David Lee will come on to punt.
I didn't see him throw a pass that well the entire time he was warming up, and I was concerned about his arm because he didn't have that zip to it. That's the kind of pass that your arm really does have to be strong to throw on.
Nor did he have it last night at the workout.
Third in the National Football Conference, or second in the conference, is Tony Green. 12.5 average, the rookie from Florida. David Lee to punt. Lee hits a low. Green will have an opportunity from his 20-yard line. And Green ducks and twists and moves out over the 27-yard line for Washington. Will have their first possession. 39-yard punt by David Lee, and will be returning to Baltimore's Memorial Stadium in a moment.
Take any razor available in America, any razor. Now there's an electric shaver that will shave as close or your money back. The Remington XLR. Remington can guarantee a close shave because only Remington has this remarkable three-part system. The first head shaves close, the second closer. The unique intercept cutter is designed to shave longer hairs. The Remington XLR. It shaves as close as a blade or your money back.
At GMC, truck people's what we are. We got them big and small and in between, even buses but no cars. Cycles are not our chosen field, nor mowers for your lawn, but our trucks keep moving on.
We're GMC Truck and Coach Division of General Motors. Trucks are what we've been about for 75 years.
GMC.
A special report on foster children tonight on Newswatch.
Don't miss ABC's election coverage starting tomorrow night at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, continuing through the night. And you'll get outstanding election coverage anchored by Frank Reynolds.
The Redskins on 1st and 10. Kilmer firing out, intended for Danny Bugs, incomplete. And at right tackle, Jeff Williams is back in again, replacing Fred Dean.
Let me tell you something about Jeff Williams. Straight from Bobby Bethard, the general manager, who, as you know, is tops in evaluating personnel. He considers Williams the best overall athlete on the squad, a champion hurdler in Massachusetts, though he hails from Rhode Island. He can play and play it all. He was hurt in the Green Bay preseason game, briefly retired, but now he's back, and Bethard thinks he can do the job.
Second down and 10. Williams, right tackle. His job tonight, Fred Cook, number 72, top of your screen for Baltimore. Kilmer going deep, overthrows John McDaniel.
He had him.
Yeah, that was kind of an unusual route. It was like a little stop, turn in, and go route. Throws that defensive back there just for a moment, and he was open.
I'll tell you, he had Norm Thompson beaten, and Billy really threw it out there. The previous throw, the sideline pass, waffled, but this one was a spiral.
He had a spiral. Yeah, no, that one to Bugs. Bugs slipped down. We had a good shot of Billy's face when he was looking out to Bugs, and that's one of those timing patterns that we talk about a lot. 5 yards down and then out to the outside. Bugs slipped when he made his turn. Billy was a little upset with him.
There was a time in Billy's career when he would have accepted as a season's pay $500 for every time he threw a spiral.
Doesn't make a difference as long as it gets there.
I'll tell you, they're having a problem. They are heading for another delay of game penalty if they don't hustle. They have 8 seconds on the clock. They were short a man on the field. Billy is smart quarterback. He'll go on a quick count. 3 seconds. He gets it off. Third down 10. Hangs it up. Good coverage. Doug Nettles covering Danny Bugs. It'll be fourth down. Washington must punt.
Something's wrong. They're really not moving very smooth out there. There's some confusion. You're right. There was someone late getting into the huddle, but that's a little tough there.
How do you like that?
He's following you. Muhammad, I think, down making a movie, isn't he? Somewhere inside.
Freedom Road is the name of it.
Mike Bragg will punt his second punt of the night. We got a beauty. There's Marshall Johnson back at the 30-yard line, averaging a little over 6 yards per return. Again, Bragg hangs one high and long. At the 25 is Johnson. And again, good coverage, and down goes Johnson at the 30. Martin Murphy, 47-yard punt, 3 or 4 yard return, and that's what the Redskins do to you all the time.
Right, that's the key point, Frank. Washington ranks first in the entire league in yards allowed per kickoff return and punt return both. That's the special team excellence Frank's told you about. It's a hangover from George Allen's days. In point of fact, he'd spend more time with the special teams than he would with the offense.
1st and 10, Baltimore. The ball inside their 31-yard line. Jones right to the air. And takes off and moves out to the 35. And you know Ted Barcelona took a deep breath as his prize quarterback gets 4 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 6. Coy Bacon in there on the stop.
Defense guessed right that time. They were a little quick roll up the outside. He was trying to hit him with that little 5-yard square out. And Gerald Williams, number 45, guessed with him right, and he was standing right there in the way. Burt had to eat it and go up the middle.
Dowdy and Carr. Dowdy 35, Carr 81, move to the left. 2nd down and 6. Washington gets the call and makes a couple of yards. It'll be 3rd down and 4. She's stopped in there. Brad Dusick there, along with Carl Lorch, Darren Talbot. The man who's really been playing good football for the Washington Redskins is Dave Butts, the big man, 6'7", a 285-pounder. He's the left tackle. Where's number 65?
He really had a good game against Dallas when we did the Dallas-Washington game. Butts, he was really tearing them up.
Dowdy goes left, and he'll be covered out there by Lavender. Out to the right goes Carr, picked up by Gerard Williams. 3rd and 4. Wide open is Washington, and overthrowing is Burt Jones, and look at him. He knew he had 6 points and overthrew Washington.
Oh, he really did too, Frank. He had him man-to-man. And there's Brad Dusick trying to come back in and get him. Washington, of course, coming out of the backfield. At the start, you see Jake Scott 13, but he's reading Burt. Washington goes right by him. Dusick's trying to play catch-up. That's a tough one. You got to lay that one up and let him run under it. He tried to drill it.
David Lee comes in. Deep is Tony Green for Washington. Green standing at his 25-yard line. Lee has to hurry it somewhat.
I think it was partially, I think they got hit it a little bit.
Fair catch called for and made at the 31-yard line. A 33-yard punt. Timeout in Baltimore. We'll be back in a moment.
You know, way back in 1911, the only place Harvey Firestone could take his tires to be really tested was Indianapolis, where a bunch of young fellows were starting to race cars. Well, Harvey took his tires to Indianapolis, and every summer he learned a little bit more about them. In fact, he learned so much that 48 Indianapolis winners rode on Firestone.
Today, at Firestone's Proving Ground, Fort Stockton, Texas, there are no cheering crowds, but the object is the same. Learn more about tires. Firestone's 721 steel belted radio is a result of that kind of learning. It took 5 million miles of testing to develop the 721. The tire Harvey Firestone would have been proud of. Because, you know, he always wanted Firestone products to be the best today and still better tomorrow.
Washington has a 1st and 10. The ball at their 31-yard line. Billy Kilmer, who came out throwing the football, brings his troops up. Joe Theismann, the starter for 6 games. Then he had trouble. They faltered, and Billy Kilmer came in last week to beat the 49ers. Here's Mike Thomas. He drops the ball.
The Colts have got it.
Baltimore's on top of it. Baltimore with a big turnover at the 35-yard line. It is Bruce Laird who comes up with the fumble.
You think fans don't matter to a team? Look at these fans. We showed you the fans in Atlanta last Monday night. This Colt team is fired up not only as we look at it again, the handoff to Mike Thomas, squirting through that hole.
He never really had it, I don't think.
Nope, he did not have real possession and control of that football. But it's not just Jones now who's got the Colts fired up, it's the fans too.
Carr to the right, Dowdy to the left on the 1st and 10. And moving on the left side as Washington is stopped with a whistle. And let's take a look at it again. Keep in mind now, Mike Thomas had a chipped ankle. He's been out for 3 weeks. The timing cannot be all that right. Let's look at it again.
handoff in there, Frank. No, I believe it was right there. Barnes knocked it out. That was
it was stripped by Barnes, I believe, number 63.
I didn't see Barnes the first time. Boy, he's been playing some good football, too.
Movement on the left side of Baltimore. 5-yard penalty. Down remains the same. 1st and 15. The ball just inside the 41.
Okay, Bruce, you picked it off fine. Recovered the fumble.
Dowdy goes out to the left. Joe Lavender defensively is there at cornerback for the Redskins. Carr is to the right. He confronts Gerard Williams. Jones, screen to Washington. Washington coming back, and a flag flies as Washington goes down right at the line of scrimmage.
A flag on the play. He's exciting, isn't he, Dunn?
Yeah, he is. He really is. He's not very big. I'm surprised every time I see him.
They called one clip. I think there were 2 on that particular play. And it'll be stepped off. So far, we have not generated a great deal of offense. I think both teams are probably minus at this point. And it'll be marked off all the way to the 45-yard line. Here's the call.
Clipping by number 69 of the offense.
Wade Griffin, offensive left tackle, clipping Baltimore. 9:08 remaining in the game. In case you have just dropped in, no score from Baltimore. Dowdy goes left, Carr to the right. The setbacks. Washington 20, Roosevelt leaks 48.
You don't want to get greedy. Try to get about half of it. Whoops.
Going for Carr.
He's getting greedy.
And picked off Gerard Williams. Williams looks for help, finds one, and then decides, well, I'll set it down. I don't want to lose it. We have good possession. Washington does. They'll be at their own 36-yard line.
Not even a question of getting greedy, Don, as we look at it again. In your talk with Bert before the game, he told you that he realizes his arm isn't at full strength. Why call that play?
Well, I'm sure he had a reason, but I feel that the odds are so far against him right there. Maybe he just got frustrated with all the penalties, and they had first down and about 30 to go. He tried to get it all back at one time.
Also showed the Washington defense that he's not afraid to go deep. Reagan's right side, and the big one. Bulls out close to the 40-yard line. Gain of 4. It'll be 2nd down and 6. And let's take a look at Roger Carr. He has that great speed. This ball just underthrown.
Yeah, he didn't. You can see Williams is playing it back. He's reading back through the into the backfield. He saw the ball was underthrown before Carr did, so he made his move to the inside. He said, hold it now. Wait just a minute here. I think I'll sit and think about it. I'm going to sit down and rest. He said things like that. I heard him. Yes, he said that.
2nd down, long 6. The ball to the Redskins' 40-yard line. Mike Thomas. Thomas cuts back to the inside. It gets up to the 48-yard line. 1st down, Washington. And this man, who has had such a splendid career, he came up a 5th-round draft pick 4 years ago, is one of the fine, gifted runners in football. An intelligent runner, Howard. Don?
Yes, and he didn't want to have another look at Benny Malone from the bench.
You know, it's always, with the way this game started, with Washington just keep going in the wrong direction, now I can sense that they've got some breathing room. They're doing the things they want to do to begin with. As Billy said, let's run Thomas, let's run Riggins.
On 1st down, Thomas gets the call again. Finds a hole to the right, slithers towards it, and picks up a quick 6 yards.
That's why those interviews at the very top of the telecast are important, to establish, in effect, the storyline of the game.
2nd down. Yeah, they usually tell you the same thing, though. We're going to establish the run and then throw. That's what most all of them say, because that's kind of the basic philosophy about it. I do think that Billy was sincere in that, because he had some good points. He hasn't played that much, hasn't been throwing that much, neither has Bert. So I think both of them should have very similar philosophies.
And Bert was honest about the condition of his arm.
Yeah.
2nd down, 4.
Look at that.
Here comes the blitz. Riggins bounces out of the arms of one Colt, number 78, John Dutton, taken out of bounds finally, right near midfield. Loss of 3 yards.
Oftentimes, I think you see really the greatness of a back in a situation like that, where he only lost 2 or 3 yards.
Instead of what should have been an 8-yard loss.
Yeah, but it's just the ability, the strength that the guy has.
That's one of the great things about John Riggins, Don. It always has been. That's why they always used to try to get him out on the swing pass in one-on-one situations because of his ability to break tackles. When I say they, when Namath was his quarterback in his old days as a Jet.
3rd down and 8. Ball right at midfield.
Strong-legged boy.
Kilmer going for Bugs, and he does not hold on. Covered by...
Kilmer either thought that Bugs was interfered with, or he's upset at Bugs for running a sloppy route, because I saw him come over that direction and do a little screaming and hollering. Know Billy well enough that he does that sort of thing. He commands that huddle, I think, extremely well. He tries to get the kind of performance he wants. If he doesn't get it, he lets him know about it.
Mike Bragg will punt. Deep, a pair of safety men, Marshall Johnson, and now he has company. Joe Washington, number 20, is back there with Johnson. Bragg, of course, will angle to the sidelines, and he almost gets his first punt block out of 320 attempts. A remarkable record. He puts it in the end zone. A flag is down upfield.
Looked like Frank is in an area of having an offensive lineman or downfield a little too soon. That punt was almost blocked with...
I thought it was gone.
Who was it back in there? With Randy Burke?
I kind of threw away a statistic, but it is remarkable. Bragg, coming into tonight, had punted 320 times. 320 times without a punt blocked. And he just about broke his record right there.
Down the field on the kickers, number 29. Penalty is declined. 1st down.
That's the call. We've got a special Sunday edition of NFL football this Sunday night, and what a game it is. The Steelers at 9-1 against the Rams at 8-2. Showdown game between two of the best teams in football.
Baltimore, 1st and 10, their own 20-yard line. Still no score. Roosevelt leaks. Bounds forward for 3 yards before he's up in it. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Dyron Talbot trips him up. Kenny Houston coming up from safety. 6:34, and the clock is moving here in the 1st quarter.
They did a good job on Dyron that time. Good enough, I think, to gain more than the 2 yards. I think Leak has actually missed the hole there. Ran with his head down a little bit. Ken Huff came over, had a good block on Talbot, and Leaks just ran over both of them.
Defensively, Washington ranked 10th in the NFC. Baltimore dead last in the AFC and the NFL. On 2nd down.
He's got Washington.
He wants the first. Goes for the 1st down, and he's short of it as Brad Dusick drives him out of bounds. And Don, you were dead right. I think on another day, Bert Jones would have given it the arm on the run to Washington because he was wide open.
Yeah, it's easy to say that he didn't see him, but I really do think he probably did, and I think you're right. It's that your mind really knows what that body can do most of the time, and I just don't think he's as confident in his arm as he has been in the years gone by. But he had Washington break loose, as we've said many times, happens so often when you see a quarterback scramble, and he utilized his speed to get behind everybody. Jake Scott was the closest one, about 5 yards from him.
3rd down. Little more than a yard to go for the 1st down. They must get to the 30-yard line. The 2nd tight end is in. 86, Reese McCall. Play action on 3rd and short. Jones goes down.
Oh, there. He read
Dave Butts hustling in there, as was McClinton.
That's the guy who murdered Dallas, as Don mentioned the night we saw him. A huge man who was initially a #1 draft choice of the St. Louis Cardinals and didn't prove out there. But he developed under George Allen, and now it's continuing to develop under Jack Pardee.
A gradual change. Ron McDowell not seeing much action for the Redskins defensively anymore as we look at David Lee. That is Carl Lortz playing side by side with Dave Butts. Deep is Tony Green at his own 45-yard line. Redskins go for the block. Lee hurries. Fair catch called for and made at midfield by Tony Green. And Washington will have great field position when we return to Baltimore's Memorial Stadium. No score in the game. Stay with us.
Buick continues the turbocharging of America with the world's biggest choice of turbocharged cars, the 1979 Turbo Buicks. 4 cars, all powered by the remarkable turbocharged V6. To drive one is to want one. The new Turbo Buicks, the Riviera S-Type, the Sabre Sport Coupe, Regal Sport Coupe, and the Century Coupe and Sedan. When it comes to turbocharging, nobody else even comes close.
Because of a certain ability I possess, I've been asked to tell you all the useful shopping information you can find in the Bell System Yellow Pages. Names, addresses, phone numbers, maps, directions, credit cards, items for sale, charge accounts, deferred payment plans, brand names, regular valet parking, custom work, machine work, quantity discounts, colors, days and hours of business, insurance, bonding, deliveries, endorsements, cash and carry, 24-hour service, estimates, illustrations, years in business, same day.
When you need to know who, what, where, when, and why, let your fingers do the walking through the Bell System Yellow Pages.
Thank you.
Saturday, an NCAA doubleheader. #1 ranked Oklahoma battles 4th ranked Nebraska. Then headlining regional games, 3rd ranked Alabama tackles LSU on ABC.
A couple of teams that really get with it. Oklahoma, Nebraska. Saturday, NCAA college football. Baltimore had a penalty assessed against them on the punt. Naturally, it was declined by Washington. Reese McCall, their rookie tight end, was lined up at the wrong position. So Washington has good field position as Billy Kilmer brings them up. Mike Thomas.
Oh, they got
good block by Ron Soule. Ron Soule springs Mike Thomas for an 8-yard pickup down to the 42-yard line, where it'll be 2nd down and 2.
Soule did a good job. Hermling did a good job. They actually said it was very good timing by Thomas and not trying to make his cut until they strung it out far enough for him to then go straight up the field.
You notice each time on the exchange of kicks, Washington has been edging forward, getting better and better field position. And this last was an example. Now with that 8-yard gain on the 1st down, the quarterback is in perfect position.
Thompson 83, McDaniel 86, wide receivers for Washington. 2nd down and 2, Riggins gets the call. He gets a block from Mike Thomas, and look at Riggins. Turn on the speed, stepping out of bounds with the 1st down inside the 33-yard line. Hard to believe, as big as he is, Howard, at 230. He was about a 9'7" sprinter years ago in Kansas, and he can still move.
I think Howard has some things to say about Theismann.
No, I think you were going.
No,
but yes, that is Joe Theismann, the Notre Dame lad who had the career in Canada and belonged to Miami and finally wound up with the Redskins, and this year led the Redskins to 6 victories in the first 8 games, which he started.
I knew you.
Takes care of Theismann.
I knew you had some things to say about that.
1st and 10, 33-yard line. Washington moving. Riggins gets the call, finds a little opening, and uses his weight and speed and strength as he bowls for 5 yards. It'll be 2nd and 5, the ball at the 28.
That's one of the sneaky things about Riggins, Don.
He is sneaky.
Always gets more yardage than you think he's going to get, dragging them along.
On the play before this one, before we got into the Theismann, I was going to tell you that what he really did, that play they ran was a very basic, simple, off-tackle sort of play. But with his speed, it didn't wind up where most of those plays do. He bounced it outside, and the defense is not really, they don't defend the guys that way because they don't see that kind of speed from a big fullback.
2nd down, 5. Mike Thomas. And Thomas is drilled as he tries to get to the outside and then bring it back in. He's hit by the middle linebacker, Ed Simonelli.
He didn't get those blocks that time, Frank. Very similar play to what we saw earlier. Good inside pursuit.
Simonelli looks like a little kid. He actually is very small for a linebacker, 6 feet, 215-pounder. The Colts really thought they had Willie Lanier coming in this year. Willie decided that he was not in condition, so he didn't even report. So Simonelli, who played in the middle last year when they won their division, is back in there again this year. They say that little man can't do it. He's proven them wrong. 3rd down, 5. Fugit's in the lineup, split to the right.
Oh, Billy.
Kilmer had to unload it. Mike Thomas is saying that he was held up by Bruce Laird. Nobody's listening to him. Incomplete.
Joe Ehrman was in there on Kilmer, and that's why he had to unload it.
They'll bring out Mark Mosley.
He can do it from this distance.
He's got a great string going this year, 11 of 19. He's booted 152 yards, so it's certainly well within range of Mark Mosley. Always have to be concerned, too, that the holder is a quarterback, Joe Theismann, a very agile quarterback. So he'll hold for Mark Mosley. It'll be an attempt of 45 yards.
From the 34-yard line.
Now Theismann moves up to the 44, a 44-yard attempt. Out of distance and a whole bunch of accuracy.
Yes, sir.
Washington is on the scoreboard first with 3:12 remaining in the first quarter. 44-yard field goal. Mark Mosley. We'll be back in a moment.
That's my team, the Washington Redskins. And I'm Darren Talbert. I'm proud of the Redskins, and I'm proud of this team, too, the National Football League's USO team. Each year, NFL players on behalf of the USO visit military hospitals and bases around the world. It's called a handshake tour, and believe me, we've shaken hands from Seoul, Korea to Berlin, Germany. It can be lonely living in foreign countries, far away from your family and friends, but it can be just as tough coming back to the States. That's why the USO is making a special effort to help GIs when they return to America. In many towns, the USO is supported by your United Way. Through the USO and the United Way, you too can extend your hand to our servicemen and women to say you haven't forgotten, that you appreciate their service to our country. Remember, thanks to you, it works for all of us, the United Way.
The preceding announcement was brought to you by number 72, Darren Talbert, and the National Football League as a public service. Mark Mosley set to kick off.
Didn't know Darren do good. He looked pretty there, too.
Deep, Marshall Johnson, number 80, Joe Washington, number 20. Each of them has returned to kick off for a touchdown in their NFL careers. Johnson against Oakland in the playoffs last year. And, of course, that dramatic kickoff return by Washington against New England this year. High, and it will be taken by Marshall Johnson at the 5. Upended, hustling down there with a good tackle, Don Harris. Baltimore is being popped good tonight. Washington has come to play.
I tell you, that Don Harris just threw that body in and submarined him.
He did, he did. What has really happened is now Baltimore's got to do it on their own. They had a good chance in the first part of the opening quarter, opening minutes, I mean, with a lot of help from Washington. Washington says, I'm tired of helping you now. If you're going to do it, you got to do it yourself. That's what Washington says.
First down. Joe Washington, left side, and Washington arrived abruptly at the line of scrimmage by number 80, Coy Bacon.
Are they hitting?
Coy Bacon has given the Redskins a pass rush that they have not had in the past. He was coming over from Cincinnati, a former All-Pro with the Rams, the Chargers.
He said, I get back here so fast, I tell the quarterbacks where to set up.
He just put a big arm out, and that was the stopper for 183-pound Joe Washington. Second down, 10. Jones is in trouble again.
Goodbye.
Back at the 8-yard line, Carl Lorch, number 71 in there. Darren Talbert wasn't far behind.
Well, we said Baltimore was fired up and Washington equally so, and there are a lot of Redskins fans here driving up the freeway that Frank talked about earlier. It's like a Dodger-Giant game.
I think the crowd helps, but until they figure out a way to put more than 11 on each side, it pretty well equals out after time goes on. But this is a very vocal crowd here in Baltimore. Loud stadium, stomps, a lot of that sort of stuff. They do help them a lot.
McCauley, number 23, is in the lineup with Joe Washington. Both are good receivers, but we get the draw to McCauley. And McCauley pounds out to about the 17-yard line, where it will be fourth down and Baltimore must punt. And that will produce David Lee. And dropping deep for the Redskins, who should have good field position once again, will be Tony Green. Tony Green is also returned to punt for a touchdown this year. He went 80 yards against the Philadelphia Eagles. David Lee's fourth punt of the night. Washington is playing for the return. This is Green. And Green gets to about the 43-yard line where the Redskins will have their first down.
Last time the Redskins got in on the exchange at the 50. Before that, they had gotten it at their own 47. Now they have it at the Colts 43 or thereabouts. 42. So they keep edging in there on those exchanges, Don.
They really do. Lee's has been a very effective punter for a long time, but the last 2 or 3 years, it's been just a little bit less, a yard or two here.
Washington, 42-yard line of the Baltimore Colts. The Redskins leading 3-0, 1:21 remaining in the first quarter. This is John Riggins. Did a little pirouette, turns to the right side and makes something out of nothing. A gain of 4. It'll be 2nd and 6, and he should have been trapped.
Exactly what Don was talking about before. You don't expect that kind of speed, the ability to turn the corner from a big man, or at least a man Riggins' size, but he has that kind of speed.
Well, there was just really no place to go. He was trying to hit up in the middle, and they really had him closed in. You see Cook coming in from the outside.
Could describe this as running by terror.
Yes.
He outstripped Barnes.
Looking for home.
2nd and 6. The ball at the 38-yard line. Now the Baltimore Colts. Riggins gets the call again. Stopped at the 35-yard line after a gain of 3. It'll be 3rd and 3. Mike Thomas, rather, carrying the ball on that play.
Seen a lot of plays, Frank, seems to be designed to go into that middle. You were talking about Simonini earlier. And I would imagine that that has a lot to do with it. They're trying to put as much pressure on him as they can, keep him at home, because I think he really is more effective against the pass, primarily because of his size, than he is against the run. So they're running right at him, right in the middle.
They might get this play off before the end of the first quarter. They will not. Billy Kilmer watches time run out. The quarter expired with the Redskins leading the Baltimore Colts. Mark Mosley, a 44-yard field goal. And we'll be back with second quarter action in just a moment.
You know me? Of course you do. I am money. You're money. You work for me. So hard. What's so funny? You should have me working for you.
An IDS representative can get tough with money, put it to work with a personalized financial plan. We've done it for 80 years for business and for people just like you. IDS, we help people manage money.
At Pioneer, we don't build a high-fidelity receiver the way some of our competitors do. Instead of a pressboard bottom, our SX780 has a metal one that limits interference. It has power meters and a DC power supply for richer bass. It's things like this that have made Pioneer #1 among people who care about music. And isn't that why you buy high-fidelity components? Because you care about music? Pioneer's SX780.
When you break horses for a living and you do it wrong, they can break you first. But when you do it right, you can turn a terrified animal into a horse a man can count on. And now comes Miller time. Time to head for the best tasting beer you can find. Miller High Life.
If you've got the time, if you've got the time, we've got the beer, Miller Beer.
Billy Kilmer, 0 for 5 tonight. He saw his first action last week, defeating San Francisco 38-20. He was 12 of 23 a week ago for 2 touchdowns. He got the starting nod again tonight. He has a 3rd down and 3. The ball just at the 35-yard line of Baltimore.
Big hole right there in the middle again.
Riggins, 1st down. He barrels to the 31-yard line.
Frank, those statistics show you how we've been devoid of any passing attack on either side thus far in the game. There wasn't a single completion by either quarterback in the first quarter. And clearly, Billy's having his troubles. But they've been getting field position, as we noted, on the exchanges of punts. And when you got a kicker like Mosley,
yeah, that could be a big difference.
He is in range already. He hit earlier for 44 yards. 1st down, 10.
They're really playing those tackles wide right there. Oh, he's got him a little
Kilmer
fake.
going deep.
There's 6.
He wants Ricky Thompson. And the former Baltimore Colt of a year ago, who's having a big year with the Washington Redskins. Just when we were talking about the lack of the effective passing scores, beating Bruce Laird, 6 points, the Redskins.
You
see Pardee.
You don't see many of those guys doing that, do you? I love it. I love to see that. That was a good fake in the middle to Riggins.
Play action.
I love that pass.
You know what a thrill that has to be. This youngster came up in 76, an 8th-round draft pick. As we look at him again, 76, he caught 1 pass. In 77 last year, he caught a pass. He went to the Redskins, and that was his 16th reception of the year. Touchdown against his former teammates.
You had to wonder if the ball was going to get there.
Mosley. And the Redskins move out to a 10-0 lead as we are We're just underway in the second quarter. Look at it again.
It really was just a little fake. He gave Bruce Laird that little inside move, Frank, with his head. Laird turned, had to come back around to get him. When he did, he was there, 6 points, and we'll be right back.
You give a man a couple of days to himself and a Black & Decker workmate, and there's almost nothing he can't do. You can pound on it, saw on it, hammer on it, and sand on it. The sturdy vice jaws do the holding for you. You can clamp on it, paint on it, cut a shape on it, drive a screw on it. There's almost nothing you can't do. When America has a job to do, it reaches for Black & Decker.
Happiness and thriftiness, you like the likes of Opal. Roominess and coziness, you like the likes of Opal.
There are lots of things to like about our trusty little Opal, like tender, loving workmanship. So if you're looking for a great Japanese car, look for a great American name.
You like the likes, the sheer delights. You like the likes of Opal.
To Washington.
Billy Kilmer, while he's not a thing of beauty, he seems to get it done. He's been doing it for a lot of years. 16 to be exact, has hit. Ricky Thompson, 31-yard touchdown. The Redskins lead 10-0. Mark Mosley to kick off. Deep, number 80 is Marshall Johnson. Number 20, Joe Washington.
Ball's actually easier to catch when it wobbles a little bit.
You know, it really is.
Yeah, he probably did that on purpose.
Mosley, a line drive. Marshall Johnson. And Johnson gives the hometown crowd a thrill as he goes out to the 35 to 36-yard line. Tackled there by Benny Malone.
That time, the low kickoff gave the wedge a chance to form, and Johnson took advantage of it.
You are absolutely right. That really was it. They got up there, had a chance to execute that play.
Baltimore in a lot of trouble. Redskins fired up defensively, and now they have struck offensively. Dowdy is at the top of your screen to the right, and here comes Roosevelt Leaks, and Leaks, the big man for Baltimore, keeps moving. He goes for 7 when he was stopped just beyond the line of scrimmage.
He really did it on his own too, Frank. You saw right before the snap of the ball, they shifted in that direction. The defensive line shifted in that direction, so they ran right into the strength of it. Zone blocks. Leaks just got right in behind him and took off. Takes about, what, 7, 8 yards?
Give him 7, and the ball is at the 43-yard line. 2nd down, 3. Dowdy goes right, Carr to the left. Those are your wide receivers. Washington. That's back, and look at the move by this young man. Getting to the 45-yard line. Baltimore first down.
Good quickness. They have him listed as 5'10", 182 pounds. I really don't think he's that big. I don't know how tall he is. But great quickness, which the backs have got to have right when he's got to cut. There's that hole. Lost a guard. He says, that's all right, Pratt. I'll catch you later. Made that move in there upfield.
Baltimore gets their first down. 45-yard line of the Redskins. Dowdy goes right, Carr to the left. Washington, the leading receiver coming into tonight for the Baltimore Colts, is in the slot position.
Chris was a little bit offside.
55, Hamburger, just a little early.
Well, he believes in anticipation. Anticipation. Wish I knew the rest of that. That's such a good one.
Roosevelt Leaks, the ball carrier, moves down to the 36-yard line. And they'll talk this one over to see where the ball will be marked. There was a gain of 9. And it could be as... Well, let's hold on. Red Cashin will give us a story. I thought perhaps Hamburger might have been drawn off. Such is not the case. Bert Jones wants to know the entire story. He'll probably decline the penalty because he'll have a 2nd down and 1. He would have a 1st and 5 or a 2nd and 1.
Well, they're making a problem in calculus out of it.
Cannot be that big a decision.
Offside, number 55 on the defense. Penalty is declined. Be 2nd down.
Finally.
I remember that used to be almost automatic. They just stepped it off. Everyone's getting just a little touchy.
2nd down and 1. Redskins 36.
2nd and 1. Ball at the 36-yard line. action on the part of Leaks. He did not stop, even though he knew the penalty had been called. Leaks slips, and Jones has to make the first down.
Which he did.
That's Jones gets the first down, and we're going to pause 5 seconds and allow our stations along the line to tell you who's bringing you the game tonight.
This is WPLG, Channel 10, Miami. Called it home.
Bert Jones turns around. Roosevelt Leaks has slipped, and he had to do it on his own. And I really think that he is playing in just a little bit of pain.
Either that or he's sure got a funny way of holding his right arm.
33-yard line of the Redskins. The Colts down by 10.
I saw somebody move.
Washington.
Oh, look at
this little one.
I love it. I love it. That's just fun.
Washington to the 26, gain of 7.
This, of course, is the first solid drive Baltimore has mustered tonight. They did have one scoring opportunity when Jones had a receiver wide open. Look at it from the ground.
He leaves Chris Hamburger and Ken Houston, number 27 and 55. They're sitting there talking to themselves. They said, oh, wait a minute. Hey, did you see somebody come in this direction?
A phantom.
What happened? What was that?
Second down 3, the ball at the 26-yard line. 11:22 remaining in the half. Redskins leading 10-0. Roosevelt Leaks, Bulls for a first down, but a flag is down.
A flag on the play.
I think my eyes are jumping. I've been seeing people jump offside all night.
Washington once again. And they'll probably talk this one over too, because it's very close. The penalty and the yardage picked up by Leaks.
On the defense, first down.
Jack Barney, who took the Bears to their first playoffs since 1963, a year ago, 9-5 record. Great All-Pro with the Rams, came with George Allen in 71, and is now back coaching the team that he helped to so many playoffs. Roosevelt Leaks finds an opening and crashes forward to the 16-yard line. A gain of 4, it'll be 2nd and 6.
I'll tell you, the middle of that offensive line is given a good charge now. Mendenhall and Pratt and Huff.
That's really the regulars that they have there. They're the guys on the outside haven't been doing it. I just was going to say they too are going up the middle. And that's what they're doing. They're following that initial surge off the ball by those 2 guards and offensive center.
Dowdy goes out to the right, Carr to the left, and you have a feeling that Jones would like to get one quickly. He's an impatient man. Washington upended. It was Doucette coming across the line of scrimmage, number 59, who's played superb football for the Redskins ever since he arrived.
He really has, Frank. He has a knack of making the big play. You remember in their opening game of the season, it was Doucette who picked off a Horace Ivory fumble and dashed in for a touchdown that enabled him to upset the Pats.
He has recovered 12 fumbles in his career, which began only 5 years ago. 3 of them he has returned for touchdowns. That's an NFL record, by the way. And Bert Jones cannot get his troops organized. He uses one of his timeouts in a disgusted sort of way. Moves over to the sideline. And we'll be returning in just a moment.
If your business takes you to the heart of a city, there's nothing like Hilton Rainbow Service. In Manhattan, it's right on Park Avenue at the Waldorf Astoria. Or if your business is pleasure, you'll find Rainbow Service at the fabulous Las Vegas Hilton and on beautiful Waikiki at the Hilton Hawaiian Village. Hilton Rainbow Service. You'll find it at the heart of every Hilton, in the heart of most every city.
There's no place like Hilton.
It takes the average wheat farmer over 50 days and 14 tons of machinery just to plant his seeds in the ground. Now Phillips Petroleum has helped develop a better way, a system that plows, fertilizes, and plants in a single step. It can lighten a farmer's workload and cut his fuel use in half, conserving energy for all of us while we make fine products for your car. That's performance from Phillips Petroleum, the performance company.
Watch the complete election coverage of an outstanding news team tomorrow on ABC.
Here in Baltimore, the Baltimore Colts have a 3rd down and 8. The ball inside their 20-yard line. Bert Jones could not get his troops organized, went over, checked things out. Into the lineup now has come Reese McCall, number 86, 3 wide receivers, including Mike Siani, whom Baltimore obtained from Oakland in the trade for Raymond Chester this past year. He has had a lot of troubles with a pulled hamstring, but he's in the lineup. Number 45, Mike Siani. Roger Carr, Dowdy remain. The single setback, McCauley, a fine receiver, number 23. It's 3rd and 8. Jones fires complete. It's the rookie from Auburn, Reese McCall, touchdown. And Jones said, did he catch it? He went down and hard.
Oh, that was a heck of a catch. Oh, he made a turn, came back over, run over.
Number 1 draft pick out of Auburn.
That was Kenny Houston, I think that was back there. Let's take another look at it. Ball's got some pretty good protection. They had a blitz coming up from the outside. Ball's pretty well thrown, a little bit behind it.
He's 6'6", Don.
Used that height, didn't he?
He used it. He was the number 1 draft pick after only catching 13 passes during a college career.
Well, the big thing is they showed resiliency. Down 10-0, they had to get back in the game, and they drove 70 yards to do it, or thereabouts.
He made a different team with Bert Jones. Tony Linhart. Flag is down.
I didn't see how the call turned Houston around as much as he did.
Took him inside and drove out. Conversion is good. So Baltimore is drawn with on 3, and let's take a look again at Reese McCall.
Comes up right at the top of your screen. We're still back on the quarterback, but he had Kenny Houston turn pretty well there. A little fake into the inside, called a zig out move.
He also had some inches.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
There he is, 6'6", a 232-pounder. Remind you once again, NCAA college football on a weekend coming up. Doubleheader action. Oklahoma, of course, goes against Nebraska. Oklahoma ranked number 1. Nebraska ranked number 4. This will be at 12:30 Eastern time. And then, of course, in other games, you'll be watching Alabama versus LSU in the key Southeastern Conference game. And then Stanford against Arizona State. Tulsa against Wichita State. William & Mary against East Carolina. Cal Poly at St. Louis Obispo against California at Davis. So check the local listing for the games that you'll see in your area.
It's a big mouthful.
Penalty assessed against the Redskins on the kickoff. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Tony Linhart will kick Tony Green deep into his end zone. Linhart should be able to drill it out. Well, he doesn't. Don Harris looks it over, says, I'll stay here. Washington will have a 1st and 10 on the touchback at their 20.
These two teams, although Washington has a big edge in the career battles between them, always provide a dogfight. It was no different last year when Baltimore beat Washington, but at the very end, Washington was moving toward a game-winning touchdown. And by George Allen's view, different officiating might have given him the game.
I think you said it, Howard. This team, 3-6, disappointed in the year, even down 10-0. They came back spitting and fighting, and we're going to have a football game tonight.
Spitting and fighting, Shea. Hold it.
Riggins piled up after a gain of 2. It'll be 2nd and 8.
It's going elephant okay.
Well, the key to it was Baltimore's ability to come right back with that drive. Had they failed to move on Washington, and Washington scored again against a team with a stubborn defense like the Redskins, they'd have been in real trouble.
It would have been trouble.
But now it's wide open.
Trouble right here in River City.
There are 6 pockets to a table.
Just doesn't seem like Christmas, does it?
Riggins with a 1.5 yards. 2nd down, a long 8. Mike Thomas in motion. Kilmer rolling out. Oh, intercepted. It's Norm Thompson.
Oh, good tackle by Hermeling.
Oh, what a good tackle by Hermeling. But Norm Thompson stepped right in front of that pass. I don't think Kilmer even saw it.
Well, let's take another look. It didn't look like a particularly well-thrown ball, Frank, but let's take another look. He got a little pressure from the inside. I don't know, was he trying to hit Bugs?
He was going for Bugs.
That's a good tackle because Norm Thompson, with his speed, was moving to the outside. He had some help over the other side of the field.
But it didn't take long to commit the turnover that gives Baltimore its opportunity. Quickly to either tie or move into the lead.
Jones is a quarterback that likes to strike and strike deep when he gets a break. He puts Dowdy and Carr to the left. But gives it to Leaks up the middle, and Leaks battles and fights for 4 yards. Gets to the 26-yard line. It'll be 2nd down 6.
Well, how much can a quarterback inspire a team? Clearly, Bert Jones is having a tremendous impact on his team tonight, Tom.
Well, yeah, I guess so. I think it's, you know, you can come out there, you got to do something after you get out there, and the fact that he did throw a touchdown pass, I think, helped a great deal. You see Norm Thompson on the sideline. Good defensive back. That does have great speed and that anticipation you talked about a while ago.
He's another Colt that's been out with an injury. Hurt in the first game against Dallas. Back and healthy. Leaks up in it again. It was Dusick who made the initial Washington hit. Number 59 read that beautifully, stepped across. Where he lost him a yard.
Where a small back really does have the difficulty. You saw Washington try to block on Dusick, and he just couldn't do it. He just picked him up, brought him back in there, laid everything down, and Leaks couldn't get started.
He threw him right back into his lap.
Yes.
3rd down 7. Ball inside the 28-yard line. McCauley single setback. Ciani is in, number 45. Roger Carr, number 81. Glenn Dowdy, number 35. The tight end is Matt Alston. And Jones trying to screen to McCauley. The screen did not develop, and he just drilled it into him. And he's looking over to the bench and saying, why did you call that?
He is a volatile guy. He's temperamental. That's hurt him in the past, Bert Jones.
What? I mean, he doesn't call his plays. I thought he did. Did they send him in, Frank?
Well, he has a lot of flexibility, yeah. Well, he calls him, but I mean, he's flexible, too. I imagine on a 3rd down and long, that play was sent in. Tony Leonard in to attempt what could be a tying field goal. 44-yard attempt. Exactly where Mark Mosley drilled one from in the first quarter.
Oh, there's offsides, look like to me.
It will not get there.
I don't see a flag.
I didn't either.
Leonard is short. Teddy Marchibroda on the sidelines looking on. His team trails 10-7. We'll be returning in just a moment.
Make it happy times and smiling faces, holding hands in favorite places. Make it Buick. After all, life is to enjoy.
The new 1979 Buick Regal. It's good-looking, smooth riding, V6 powered, very comfortable. And your Buick dealer's most popular car, Regal.
After all, life is to enjoy.
Look around. There's really nothing quite like a Buick.
Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind of special.
There he is. Hey, you got here early. Al, 2 more Lowenbrow. Lowenbrow. Well, isn't that what regional sales managers drink? Yes, you? You got it. I got it. You got it. You got it.
When you want the taste of a truly great beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
Congratulations, big shot. And I suppose you're going to forget your friends now? Probably.
Let it be Lowenbrow.
I'm Lynn Swan of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I hope you'll do it the American way on Election Day. Go to the polls tomorrow and vote for the candidate of your choice.
You're right, Lynn Swan, and the thing to do is watch our election night coverage beginning at 7 Eastern Time tomorrow night and throughout the night. Anchorman Frank Reynolds in New York, Max Robinson in Chicago, Barbara Wallace in New York with Frank Reynolds, Howard K. Smith in Washington, and Lou Harris.
And Billy Kilmer in Baltimore with the 1st and 10 at the 27. Mike Thomas.
Oh, good move there.
Skips around looking for an opening, finds a little bit, and maybe gets a yard and a half before he's dropped. Hit there by Ed Simonini.
Well, Kilmer got away with murder the last time when the turnover resulting from Norm Thompson's interception, giving Baltimore the ball on the Redskins 30, did not result in at least the field goal that Lynn Hart fouled on. Look at how Very even in rushes and yards gained. The Redskins with 16, the Colts with 17, each team gaining 68 yards on the ground.
Second down and 8. The ball just inside the 29-yard line of the Redskins. Inside handoff. Riggins finds a little opening and bolts out to the 35. Short of the first down by a couple. It'll be 3rd and 2. John Dutton tripped him up.
Dutton was free early. He just couldn't quite catch up with it.
3rd down and 2 from the 35.
Remember when Riggins had his mohawk haircut? That thing going down, had both sides of his head shaved and that streak going right down the middle?
He's always been a little flaky, or used to be. Now he seems to be settled down.
I just meant he changed hairstyles.
3rd and 2. We have 6:13 remaining in the half. The Redskins have a 3-point lead.
Should tell the folks Meredith is wearing a beret.
Oh, no, you don't have to tell him.
Mike Thomas, single setback, gets the call, inside trap, and I believe he has the first down. He had to get to the 37. He appears to have reached the 38. Down Dutton, Ed Simonetti in on the stop. First down, Redskins. Mike Thomas, who's missed the last 3 games, chip bone in his ankle. A lot of criticism, a lot of talk that maybe he wasn't all that seriously hurt. But no one would know better than Mike Thomas.
Look at it.
It's his ankle.
That's right.
He's averaged 942 yards rushing the past 3 seasons. Not bad.
76 over 1,000 yards. Riggins again gets away from one Baltimore Colt. Tom McLeod gets back to the line of scrimmage and maybe picks up a yard. It'll be 2nd and 9.
It's good to see McLeod back. He's a guy who had retired prematurely.
Well, they needed him when Stan White went down in the Dallas game also. And Stan White, who wears number 53, is, of course, back in the lineup for Baltimore. You know, in the first game against Miami, they gave up 279 yards on the ground. Last week, they held it to about 120. That's improvement.
That's progress.
2nd and 9. Kilmer fires to Ricky Thompson. Incomplete. Bruce Laird defending.
Coverage by Bruce Laird.
3rd and 9.
3rd down and 9.
Kilmer 1 of 8.
He really flutters the ball. That last one looked like a...
It was a very effective one.
Dying quail.
He got off to a slow start. Never did catch up, did he?
31-yard touchdown, and his only completion went to Ricky Thompson.
They're going to put a bunch of them out in that pattern this time, it looks like.
Single setback, Mike Thomas. Kilmer. Gene Fugit. Short of the first down.
Oh, boy, they should chew him out.
Gene Fugit, of course, missed last week. He had a little knee surgery, the back of his knee.
Well, with his experience, you know he should have been in first down territory.
I can't see a reason why he wouldn't have taken one more step, because there was nobody over there. He's wide open. Cost him a big first down.
Have a single safety dropping deep. It's Marshall Johnson, number 80. Mike Bragg will punt for Washington.
Marshall Johnson, the deep man for the Colts.
Taking his position at his own 15-yard line. Oh, and another punt almost blocked. Johnson, fair catch called for at the 11-yard line. Reese McCall almost got in there for the block. We'd like to tell you this telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the National Football League is prohibited.
Yeah, I'm upset. That's my job. I don't know.
Well, they got the ball on the 11, 89 yards to negotiate. 3 minutes, 46 seconds left in the half. It's a good time to congratulate our old friend Bob Cochran, who used to be with the NL office, and his wife, the NFL office. Tell you why in a minute.
Joe Washington. Washington, a very difficult little man to bring down. Gets out to the 20-yard line. Gain of 8. It'll be second down and 2. I think his name is Danny, isn't it?
Danny Cochran. Judy and Bob Cochran, proud new parents, so we congratulate them. In the meantime, Joe Washington again squirting for yardage. What did he gain against Miami last week, Gipper? 126?
26. He is also the leading receiver, was coming into tonight's game, remains that way. So he is really, he wears those eyeglasses, by the way, to protect some problems he's had. Handoff is Roosevelt leaks and leaks has the first down.
We're inside of 3 minutes now, counting down the end of the first half. It's been a hard-fought struggle. There have been mistakes. There have been turnovers. Largely a defensive game. One pass for a touchdown by Kilmer.
First and 10 Colts.
He's only completed 2 on the day. And Jones with the pass to Reese McCall, the #1 draft choice from Auburn, the big tight end.
First down, the ball at the 23-yard line of the Colts. They trail by 3. Jones fires it to Dowdy, complete. And he had to put that in there, and he did. First down. Yeah, a lot of strength on that one, Don.
That was on the low inside part of the plate, man. He had it right down in there where he wanted it. Good route. I like these kind of routes when you're trying to, in the last part of the game, a turn in. The odds of that thing being intercepted are not nearly as great as when you're trying to hit a receiver coming across for a cross pattern. He's going down. You're going to pretty well throw it a spot. And with the kind of arm that Jones has, he can get it right to that spot.
He gets the first down up to the 38-yard line as the 2-minute warning is sounded. Both benches to be notified. Jones will move over to the Colts bench. Hank McClinton over to the Redskins, and we'll be back in a moment.
I'm John Kelly, a tire engineer, and this is the Firestone 721 radio. A tire we have so much confidence in, we're backing every 721 sold for the rest of this year with this guarantee. If a Firestone 721 becomes unserviceable within 2 years because of defects in workmanship or materials, we'll replace it free. Only road hazard and in-service abuse are excluded. The Firestone 721, we're so confident we guarantee them for 2 full years.
When I've got to catch a leader like Ben Crenshaw, I count on my Canon AE1. It's fully automatic, so I can concentrate on my subject. Yet it's one automatic camera that's made to meet the strictest professional standards. Try it, Ben. Are you kidding? The AE1 is so easy to use, you know you won't miss a shot. About all you do is focus and click.
The surprisingly affordable Canon AE1. So advanced, it's simple.
Saturday, an NCAA doubleheader. #1 ranked Oklahoma battles 4th ranked Nebraska. Then headlining regional games, 3rd ranked Alabama tackles LSU on ABC.
A beautiful Indian summer evening here in Baltimore. Temperatures were hovering around 70 today, and it's a beautiful night for football. The Baltimore Colts down by 3 to the Washington Redskins with 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Have a 1st and 10. The ball at their 38-yard line. You recall they had to use one of their timeouts. There was a little bit of confusion as we began the second quarter, so they have 2 timeouts remaining. Dowdy goes to the right, Carr is to the left. Jones, good protection. Going deep to Dowdy. And off his fingertips, Gerard Williams running stride for stride.
He really does throw that thing with some authority, doesn't he?
Yes, but you saw him holding his right shoulder on after that throw, and he may have damaged it some more.
He could have, or it could be an old quarterback trick. When you have one intercepted or overthrown, you grab a shoulder or an elbow or something like that.
It could,
it's an old quarterback.
But it's not likely if you've had 2 separations.
Well, it's not quite as likely, you're right.
In a matter of 7 weeks.
What was that?
Second down 10.
Oh, the pain.
Bird has a quick word with Joe Washington. Puts Dowdy to the right against Williams again. Carr out to the left. He goes against Joe Lavender, but the Skins will be in his zone. Dumps it over the middle of Mac Austin. Austin sprinting for the sidelines. He will not get there. Chris Hamburger and Ken Houston get on the stop defensively, and of course short of the first down.
He made a little audible, I think, there, Frank. Did you see him at by the last kind of changed his mind? They left that middle open.
I don't know, but he hurt Alston's middle. I mean, he fired that in there.
He put it in there, didn't he? Right between the 8 and the 3.
Alston picks up 5 yards, 3rd down 5. The ball at the 44-yard line. Seconds ticking away. Siani comes in. Mike Siani wearing number 45. Single setback now, Don McCauley. I think on another day, Bert Jones would have thrown the ball. He goes out of bounds, was 4th down, stops the clock. Ken Houston was right there to make sure he did go out of bounds.
And Jones felt he was roughed up a little bit, made his feelings plain, and the crowd responded immediately by booing the Redskins.
I wouldn't pick on Kenny Houston.
And Mr. Kenny Houston.
No, I wouldn't pick on him, though. He's tough. I bet he's not too pleased because that was really his man that caught the touchdown pass back there earlier, too. No fool with Kenny.
Here's David Lee. Tony Green is deep for the Redskins. 1:06 remaining in the first half. Redskins have 10 men at the line of scrimmage. And they're going for it. Lee hurries the punt. Green calls for it at the 27-yard line with 59 seconds remaining in the half.
They haven't given him any running room tonight either. Still another fair catch by Green, and that was a well-chosen one for blue shirts all around.
When they go to block it, you're not going to have much running room, and the Redskins have been after it all night. They feel they can block it, and they have come close.
He does take a rather long step when he punts, Lee.
Hasn't hurt him with that record Frank talked about earlier. 340 some odd.
No, that was the other guy he was talking about.
That's right.
1st and 10 Redskins. 27-yard line.
Whoops.
Riggins. Big man with the speed. Got away from one Baltimore Colt, and he gets 5 yards. Stops the clock with 51 seconds remaining in the half. Fred Cook came close, but Riggins turned on a little burst. And again, made yardage when a man, ordinary man his size, wouldn't. Ball at the 31-yard line. Halftime highlights coming up. There was some action around this league yesterday.
Who was there?
It's the Dallas Cowboys. Lost to Miami. They have got to be intently watching tonight. They'll meet the Redskins in a few weeks, Thanksgiving Day. Kilmer throws it up to Norm Thompson.
Yeah. That's
he was open.
Who, Norm?
Norm.
Yeah, Norm was open.
Yeah. I said he was going. Well, they just hung that up for grabs. 43 seconds on the clock.
That's probably a heavy wind up there high. They got out of it there, slipped a little bit.
Norm should have called for a fair catch at this point.
He was trying to hit Ricky, but that ball just was not there. Oh, Norm got it. Ricky got him down.
Well, he tried to get hold of it.
What?
He tried to grab it from Norm.
Yeah, he did. Ricky Thompson, you talking about. Yeah, he came in and made a good move. All right, let's see if they get something going this time.
Baltimore has 2 timeouts. They have the ball at their own 30-yard line. The 3rd Washington turnover of the night.
That guy's holding it.
And down goes Jones. Brad Dusick again, who's all over this field tonight. Very wise move on the part of Jones.
Don, do you think Washington's playing a different defense from what we saw them play against Dallas? The reason I ask is tonight Dusick's all over the place. If you remember the Dallas game, 53, Tank McClinton seemed to be all over the place. And they seem to be split. You were talking about it before.
Yeah, when we went back for a commercial, it just seems to me that maybe not in this situation, but in regular situations that you've got McClinton playing a little bit further off the line of scrimmage than I remember him playing against Dallas, and the defensive tackles seem to be split a little bit more. Either that or they're shifting in with one of the tackles getting head up with the center. So I think they maybe have changed it up a little bit. Most teams do. You know, they'll throw a couple of wrinkles in there every week just to keep you loose.
Seconds ticking away here in the first half. Jones will be careful with it. Hands the ball off to Roosevelt Leaks, and that should expire the half. And it does. We'll be ready for our halftime highlights after this message and a word from our local stations. The score, Washington 10, Baltimore 7.
When you take off on a Trans-International Airlines charter flight, you're taking off with us.
When you go to see a United Artists movie, you're going to the movies with us.
When you come to budget to rent a car, you're coming to us.
We're Transamerica, the people in the pyramid. We serve you through many different companies, but we stand for just one thing: first-rate service at a fair price. From every Transamerica company, every time.
My wife got the house, but I got the Sony.
Darn. I thought they were going to give me a Sony.
Most people feel very special about Sony Trinitron Color TVs, probably because Sony Trinitron Color TVs are very special. You see, it's not just a TV, it's a Sony.
I hope he's not disappointed. I think he was expecting a Sony.
Friday Night Live, the WBC World Heavyweight Championship. Larry Holmes makes his first title defense since his spectacular fight for the crown last June. Ken Norton, #1 ranked WBC contender, fights in the first battle of the evening at 8 Eastern, plus the WBC World Super Featherweight Championship, Friday on ABC.
Starting out in the world of high finance, your main investment concern was simply collecting enough bottles to return.
Thanks, Shannon.
Next thing you know, it's collecting enough return on your investments. Which is why right from the start, you need a bank like Flagship. A substantial statewide banking organization you'll never outgrow, no matter how much your needs grow. Flagship Bank, all the bank you'll ever need.
Homebuyers have a surprise waiting at the bank. A Dade tax cut takes another step forward, and we have tips on handling tomorrow's election ballot, all on Newswatch after the game.
The streets of San Francisco, weekdays at 5 on 10.
Saturday, 4 of the hottest teams in the nation at NCAA